finding the contrast is often really informative. So start with the locking of the knees, the lifting of the chest, the kind of flaring of the lower back, the excessive movement, and then softening the chest, softening the qua, rounding it, softening the knees. Yeah. Someone, Kenneth Cohen, who's a Qigong teacher in the United States, said that he was really flabbergasted. So he had a friend who was a military sergeant or colonel, and he asked him, he said, why do the military instruct their soldiers to stand like this? And the response was, because they'll follow orders like this. They won't follow orders like this. This is the stance of confidence. You're walking down the street, you see someone standing like this. You're probably not going to mess with them, right? So, yeah. So finding your emptiness stance is also the stance of potential, the stance of power, of possibility. It's a cave with a very specific tool that we can be shaping our experience. Noticing the possibilities as you stand in wuji for the breath. For the energy to flow, or notice where there's obstruction. Hands then rest onto the lower dantian, the energetic center of the body, physiological center. And having heard some different ideas around form, emptiness, the dynamic, co-arising interdependence of things, you might consider the ways in which form tends to separate, create a duality for you. And let the arms and hands lift out. The fixation on form. Gather any of those inclinations, tendencies to see things as fixed. And then just letting the palms float down and slowing down the momentum behind that tendency. To cling. And then gathering the possibilities of potential. The cave with this carpenter's square inside to shape experience and fill. And then gathering what you feel to seal this in. The relationship between emptiness and form, form and emptiness. Changing colors, spaces of potential. I'm going to pick up on form number 4 from the Primordial Qigong series. The hands start around the area of the throat, and in the centers between the hands, imagine there's a string. It's called opening and closing with the 3 dantians. And as you open, the string extends. As you close, it's like there's a balloon that's gently squeezed. And just do that a couple times. Breathing is natural. Lower to the middle dantian. Try that little string attached that gets stretched out as you breathe in, a balloon that gets condensed as you breathe out, or just natural breath. Move with those intentions. It's 3 rounds. And then for the lower dantian, you bend a bit and the hands come out past the knees, and then standing upright. Okay, pause. That's the form without much detail. Yeah, a couple of invitations, a string, the ball. And it's very easy, because we're thinking about the hands, to just let this be the movement of the hands. And it can also, though, be an opportunity for that unification. From the balls of your feet, everything opens, everything closes. Yeah. Try that. Everything from the balls of the feet, as though your body were an amoeba that expands open and condenses. Everything from your underarms, yeah, everything inflates and everything deflates. Can you feel the difference? And if you let go of the intention of the balloon or the string or the expansion and contraction of the whole body, and you just move the hands apart, move the hands back together, move the hands apart, open, move the hands together, close, it loses its magic. Okay? And that's where a lot of people who start Qigong end. They're like, I just don't get it. What are we supposed to do? And it just kind of goes, is this the emperor's new clothes? Yeah, and it gets lost. And the practice really is, though, this invitation to introduce intentionality and integration of form. The whole body moves in unison opening, the whole body moves in unison closing, and there's a little bit of an opportunity to start to feel the strength. Can you feel? And when you open and close, there's an invitation to expand big, but how big is big? Contract in small, but how small is small? Do a few more rounds at this is the upper dantian, the middle dantian, the lower dantian. So we've done quite a few. So just do a few more in each section. And at a certain point, are you the hands or the hands you, or is there some sort of opportunity to feel less separation in the movement, in the intention? from inner and outer, from big to small. So upper, middle, and lower. String expands, balloon contracts, but how wide out does the bigness of the expansion go? How small inwards does the contraction of the balloon go? In what ways can the body be a resource for awareness? There's this integration of body and inclusion. In your own practice of this could be 9 per, or 18 even per level, upper, middle, lower. When you feel like it's about ready, you're done, pausing, gathering, and harvesting the possibilities, the gifts. Hands back to Dantian. And sometimes when we do a practice, the hands feel cold. Does anyone's hands feel cold? Yeah. If that were true, you could rub them first before the practice. But if you're not cold, then you don't need to rub them. This one is a beautiful practice that starts to connect us a little bit more to the elements of the sun, the energies of the sun, the energies of the moon. It's the sun and moon turning. And the movement is that you start with the hands here, and we turn like the sun first, outwards and in. The heart is the sun, the lungs are the moon. And this is an opportunity to really nourish the organs that are so critical to our respiratory and circulatory systems or cardiovascular systems, but also just the sun of the body is the heart. Right? But the lungs, the moon. So when we start with this one, the hands don't touch, but they're one in front of the other. And the movement is to really feel an outward movement of the elbows and the shoulders and an inward movement, but it's to move the hands around the area of the heart and the lungs. So we do 9 this direction. Doesn't matter which hand is in front. Even though it's the hands turning like the sun, can you, again, still feel invitational energy, awareness to the whole body? And then, after 9, we circle the other way for the moon and the lungs. And bring intentionality to your lungs as you're circling. Care for them, nourishment to them. And after 9, this is one of my favorite parts, you gather the energies of sun and moon. With your fingertips, you bring that energy as nourishment, touching the center of the chest, and you infuse that central line and the organs of your lungs and heart with the energies of the sun and moon 3 times. So it's as though the spirit of sunlight and moonlight filters down and absorbs deep into the center of your being. And pausing just to let that play out in the way that it might. And then you harvest and collect the benefits of that practice. Sunning, moon and sun turning. So my thought is to go through the 6 forms that we didn't do this morning, and then if there's space and time, we'll review some of the ones that we did this morning. But the next ones are really beneficial for the lower legs, and we definitely, as we age, we tend to lose strength in the lower body and the lower energy flows can feel more stagnant. So this one is called double leg, a single leg ascension and descension. And it starts from the hands here. The feet come a little bit wider apart. The hands hover, so they don't actually touch the physical skin, but the centers of your palms are known as the Laogong points. They are spirit points. They transmit qi and energy. Laogong means the working palace. And you want to imagine they're like spotlights that energy is drawn to and that you can move. Okay? And the outer leg is home to 3 or parts of the 3 channels relating to your kidney, your bladder, your gallbladder, and your stomach. So these are, if you're interested in these aspects, they're related to elements or phases of water and wood and earth. And then the inner legs, when you come up, they're the yin meridians of your kidneys, your spleen, and your liver. Kidney, liver, spleen. So what we're doing with this movement is we're guiding qi down the yang pathways, and yang flows from the sky down, right? So this is the downward energy, and then yin, earth, flows from the earth upwards, and it comes and ascends up the inner legs. So we start from the hands at the center. We tip over and turn towards I'll actually mirror you, towards your left. And you go down the outer leg. That one hand is sort of behind the leg, and the other hand is slightly to the side and outer front. All the way down towards your feet, or your foot rather, around the front of the toes, and then up the inner leg. Your hands are just hovering a couple inches away from the skin. Crossing the center, and then hovering down the outer right leg, mirroring you again, and ascending up the inner right. Back to center, and that continues. We'll do a few rounds, maybe 9 rounds, 8 more. 1 round is left and right. The hands neither touch each other nor the skin. Really bringing energy flow into the pathways of the legs, the energy pathways. If folding over that low doesn't feel right, you can use intention to send the energy that low. You can also bend the knees as much as feels supportive. Hands sensitive, like they're guiding and pulling the chi. Breathing is natural. Pausing anytime. Don't have to do all 9. You can stand in stillness. Or continue for a few more rounds. Whenever you are done, you want to finish on the right leg if you started with the left. You don't always have to do 9. Sometimes 3, 4, 5, 6. Plenty. And as you do finish, just bringing the energy in the hands back to lower dantian, abdomen. Harvesting. The next form is very similar to the last one. It's called double leg ascension and descension. Both hands move to the outer legs, feet come wider. Both hands descend the outer legs down. Both hands ascend the inner legs in coming up. That's 1 round. Continue from the center, out and down. Up. Repeat. sensitivity to the care, the nourishment that you might be affording and sharing with the movement of energy through the center, the legs, the hips, the feet. And do one more round. Standing, hands coming back to the starting position, feet coming a little closer and harvesting. Simple, but I find really accessible and powerful ways to connect to the form of body. But also, there's a sense of tranquility and a sense of, as we begin moving into the last couple of forms, and then reviewing of some of the earlier ones, what is the relationship between the inner experience and the outer environment? And just, invitation to consider the ways in which emptiness and form are arising in your experience, how it's met, and what insights you might gain from it. So the feet come a little bit wider. This one's called grinding the belt meridian. Did you know you have a belt meridian too? This is Dai Mai, around the center here. And it's a very effective meridian to help integrate the energies between the upper and the lower bodies. So 3 circles small, both directions. 3 circles big, both directions. You could increase that to 5, 7, or 9. Let's do 3. Knees bend a little bit, horse stance. And then the hands, you can try this with me because later it will inform the first practice. Imagine you're a lily with deep roots, or lotus, and the hands are on the surface of the pond. Yeah, and they move with the deep roots. The wind blows, right? And the hands are like the lotus or lily pads. Can you feel? So this movement, lower, 1 circle. 2 circles, these are small. 3 circles. Change. Grinding the belt meridian. 1 circle, small circles. 2. 3. And then hips stay stable, the bigger circles. 1. 2. 3. Other way. 1. 2. 3. Having ground the belt meridian, return the feet back to center and harvest that strengthening of connection between upper and lower body. Mobilization and strength create that cohesion. Harvesting. And these are, there's two sets to this last form. It's heaven and earth circles. So this is a beautiful form. The feet come a little wider, toes out. So the first, I'm going to just talk you through it, because it's sometimes hard to understand things when you're in a forward fold for some reason. It just reverses the instructions or something. But what it is the first part of this heaven and earth circle is you're drawing heaven down through the center. This is the heaven circle. Okay, the knees will bend a little bit. That's going to repeat. We'll just do 5. Then, this is where you want to follow the instructions. You're in the fold, and your arms will cross. These are the earth circles. Yeah? Is that clear in the back too? Yeah? Okay, fantastic. So let's start with our heaven circles. Do 5. Palms face each other, knees bend, crown of the head stays fairly lifted as the knees bend and descend down. Breathing is natural. But you can inhale here, exhale on the descent. Then we're going to reverse, cross, rise, earth circles. That's 1. 4 more. And complete. Oh, 1 more. One thing I have not yet mastered is teaching, speaking, and counting at the same time. Feet come back in. Harvesting energies from earth and sky. How do we find our way walking this earth with our head towards the heavens, the sky? Find our alignment. So we've now done all of the Primordial Qigong forms. I'm going to go through the first 5 and then finish with our massage. Yeah. Everyone's energy good to sustain? Okay. So the first one, the feet about shoulders distance. We have a little bit more of a review from this morning's one. And remember this feeling of the roots of the lily. One hand is leading the other. Yeah. This is the circles. And from everything that we've been integrating, it could be a circle like this that just kind of feels blah. Yeah, fine, but not that integrative. Or it could be like circles from the upper body. Or it could be the whole body circles in a steadiness. There's a strength to it. Like your arm was not just only a lily pad, but like something that could sail through the surface, along the surface. Yeah. And the arm gets sent out from the strength of the center and the strength of the legs. Okay, we'll reverse. I feel my center carrying the arms. My center moves the arms. My arms aren't moving independently of them. Yeah. As an inquirer, you might just explore. Good. And then come back to center. Drawing down, cleansing the organs 36 times. No, I'm kidding. 3 times down. I invite you to try this at home, though, 36. How do you lower the chi and cleanse the organs? And return, harvest. Gathering the 3 dantians, just 3 rounds. Upper, right? Down, sinking to middle. Whole body integrating as one from the feet to the fingertips. Middle dantian, gathering 3 times, sending it down to lower dantian. From below the knees, gathering up towards the pelvic floor, around to the low back gate of life, and then back to the front sea of chi. Twice more. Harvesting. We roll the ball, leading with the right hand, circling 9 times forward, then reverse, leading with the left. Go at your own pace, and see if you put a hand on your belly, one hand imagining it forward on a ball, could you feel the impetus for movement start in your belly? That if you watch me from the side, I could move my hand, I could move my shoulder, Or I could move my belly. Yeah? Can you see the difference? Or sense? Yeah. Try it 9 times each direction from the belly. The ball in the hands is actually the ball in the dantian. Aim to keep the crown of the head to the sky and the tailbone to the earth. So you maintain that central axis. And when you're done with 9 each direction, hands come back to the starting position. They release. And you gather, harvest. Left foot forward, right foot back, mirroring you. And horse stance into climbing the mountain, circular expansion, going forward, and contraction. And here it's almost like you're drawing, if you were to draw down from a diagonal corner. So for me, that far diagonal corner, I'm gonna draw down an imaginary set of friends. I don't know. Yeah, there you go. Come on. Yeah, there's a sense of drawing it down diagonally, and then the peng, the movement forward is like a swell, right? That's emptiness. Swell. Shoulders stay down, so the movement swells from the center. And then when we reverse this, I'm going to draw from that diagonal up. And then almost like I'm pushing down. Sort of from that diagonal, I'm going to draw down. Crown of the head to the sky, tailbone to the earth. I'm trying to keep that axis. I'm not going to fold my head forward like this, diving under waves, but I'm going to stay upright. Shoulders descended down. And then finishing, sitting back, front foot comes back, other foot steps forward, and more or less the same idea of drawing it from the opposite corner, swelling and coming down. Yeah. It's like in Tai Chi, some of you know that Lu. You're pulling down. Whole body expands and contracts. Shoulders from the base of the shoulders, shoulder back tips stay down. So when I go forward, my shoulders don't lift up like this. And then we'll reverse from horse stance. You're climbing the mountain. And then I'm drawing down from that corner. Dharma wheel, cyclical turns of seasons, sun, moon turning, earth turning. You know, we're all part of this process, often just unacknowledged. We can feel the tempo, the rhythm, the possibility in our body's movements. Maybe just we'll align with those rhythms and attune to these energies without having to really think too much about them. Good. Shifting back. Harvesting. And gathering the qi at the dantian. 18 total. Collecting. Storing as nourishment to, this place where life first came in, nourishment, belly button. One hand on the dantian, other one gathers. You're done with 18 rounds of thereabouts, pausing. And harvesting, collecting, regulating the qi. Find your 3 softened aspects of knees, hips, chest, crown of the head lifted. Wash the face, just 3 times. Hands moving in front of the face, behind the back of the head. The ears, you close them and open them with the heels of the hands, about 3 times. And then the sinus passageways, up and down, maybe 9 times. Shoulder well point at the top of the shoulders. Pausing. Hogu, I think it's a little valley between the thumb and the index finger, 9 times tapping on each hand. And then inner palace, 4 fingers down from the crease of the wrist, light tap on each side. The San Yang, what is it? I can't remember. The 3 yang meridian meeting points at the outer elbow. It's also a large intestine point. And then squeezing underarm. Both sides. Kidneys. 18. Unless you're pregnant, light tap. Outer glutes, part of gallbladder. 9, outer thigh, midsection. Beneath the knee, outside the shin, couple inches down, like 3 mile. Intersection of the 3 leg yin meridians, 3 or 4 fingers up from the ankle bone. And then lift and lower the heels 9 times. The knees go in, out, and then faster. So silly. And then forward, back, golden rooster shakes its feathers. Circle. So just to clarify, in Feng Zhiqiang's version, he specifies something like for a man, you do 36 to the left and then 18 to the right. If you're a woman, you do the reverse. But I feel like that is a little bit of an outdated instruction. So 18 is also a really good number. And it's also Yuan Qi Gui, Yuan, a practice of returning the qi to its origins that works with 18 circles. So I've just kind of swapped that out. Yeah. So 18 small to big, 18 big to small. One hand over the other from the belly button. Attuning to the form and your experiencing of it. Attuning to the way in which experience is also a constant dance of co-arising energies, one thing arising in tandem, independently with others. And just the way that experience happens naturally. In closing form for peaceful qi, you gather peaceful energy. May this flow down and into the form of this body of yours for the benefit of your welfare and for the welfare and the benefit of the goodness of all life. So take a moment with the hands back to Dantian.